Hello and welcome back to another Tartan Talk Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2016. This week we're going to do a little bit of a religion-based episode. So let's dive right in. Tartan in the past. Kirking of the Tartans is a special church service that is a part of many Scottish festivals and celebrations around the world. There have been many ancient myths and legends of how this service started, but ultimately it actually has a much more modern start to it. There was a reverend during the Second World War named Peter Marshall who lived in the States, but he was actually originally from Scotland, and he really wanted to encourage Scottish Americans to fight on behalf of Great Britain. And so he wanted to create this new church service that really kind of brought some nostalgia back to Tartan and Scottish culture and just try and sort of spur that feeling of patriotism for Great Britain. Kirk means church in Scottish Gaelic, and in this instance it sort of means blessing. So it's all about, this whole church service is all about blessing the tartan. And there's always lots of piping and, of course, Amazing Grace. Tartan in the news. The world's first kosher tartan has been created. Rabbi Mendel Jacobs, who is the only Scottish-born rabbi living in Scotland, he was the mastermind behind this mostly red and navy tartan. To go along with Jewish law, it is a kosher non-wool linen mix. Religious experts and tartan authorities worked together to create a tartan that represents both Jewish values and Scottish heritage. The blue and white are for the Scottish and Israeli flags. The gold is from the Ark and the biblical tabernacle. The silver is for the silver that adorns the scroll of law. And the red is for the traditional Kiddush wine. There are 7 stripes in one block and 3 stripes in the other block, and both of those numbers are very important in Judaism. Piece of the week. Last week's tartan of the week was Nova Scotia, and one of my favorite gowns that I've made is the Nova Scotia double pleated collar gown. Now this was something that I had actually designed years and years before I made it, and I had it designed as a short dress with a single pleated collar, which I actually did make in McLeod tartan. But once I had made that, I realized that it would look even more sort of voluminous and cool if there was 2 layers of pleats, but I thought on a short dress it might be a little too overwhelming. So I decided to make it into a gown. And it's one of those pieces I keep bringing out again and again at different shows I've done because I just love it and I love the colors and it's so vibrant and represents my Nova Scotia. Tartan of the week. Keeping on with the religious theme, we are going this week with the Clergy Tartan, and it was created for clergymen, with clergymen in mind. There have been several versions of the Clergy Tartan over the years, dating back to about circa 1830. That was when the first one was on the record at a weaving mill in Scotland. But ultimately the colors boiled down to the need for clergymen to have sort of subtle, dark, muted colors in their clothing. Clergy Tartan has often been compared to the Clark Tartan, and they are fairly similar. The word Clark and the word clergy both have the same Latin root, which is clericus. So they have been mixed up or even just used interchangeably because it all sort of comes back to the same thing. But ultimately, the Clark tartan is a lot more bright, and the Clergy Tartan, again, is much more subtle and subdued and understated. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next week with another Tartan Talk Tuesday. Cheers.